Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Live With It. I am Sarah Lane, and this is the show where the DTNS family of folks lives with a gadget, a service, or a product, any kind of product, over a long enough period of time that we get a really solid, honest feel about how we feel about living with it and how you might feel living with it if you decide to make that purchase. Joining me today is Hammond Chamberlain. Hey, Hammond.
Hello, how are you, Sarah?
I'm doing well. Now, Hammond, if you don't already know him, and many of you who are patrons or in our Discord, well aware of Hammond's wonderful contributions.
My presence in the ecosystem.
Presence in the ecosystem, but behind the scenes on a lot of DTNS stuff. So very nice to have you here, Hammond. And this is a Live With It that I'm very excited about, doing a lot of editing, not as much as you, but some editing. And I think a lot of other people are going to be interested in it as well. So let's talk about what we're reviewing today.
So I brought the TourBox, and it is a kind of a USB controller that you can program all those knobs and buttons to do things, and it can speed up your editing. And I have to tell you that this is my favorite one of these I've had. I've had two others, and this is definitely the one that is the most robust feeling. Like, it's got some weight to it. Like, if I needed to, I could use it as a weapon. And
now, for anybody who's listening to the audio, they didn't see that you held this up. It looks almost like a joystick controller.
Yeah, it does. It looks a lot like one of those ugly N64, the giant N64 controllers, but it's got a knob, a wheel, a dial, and half a dozen or more buttons on it. And you can program these to work individually. You can work in conjunction. You can have the buttons actually have all the wheel, the dial, and the knob all have depress features as well. So if you click those down, they do things. So you can have hundreds of variations of keystrokes built into this thing with just one hand doing all the work.
Okay, so let's talk about various like DAWs or ways that you might be doing video editing or even photo editing, where this would work for you. What do you use this primarily for?
My primary function for this is with Logic and other audio programs. And I started, so the first one I got was this thing called the Shuttle Contour Express. It was a dial, a knob, and 5 or 6 buttons. And I quickly realized that it just wasn't big enough. So I got the Shuttle Contour Pro 2, whatever it was, the Shuttle Contour Pro. And it worked fine for a while. And then one day I loaded up Logic and it just didn't see it. And it stopped working. And I panicked and went banging around Amazon looking for something that would take its place because I had work to do. And luckily I found this, and I'm so glad I found this.
Now, the TourBox has a few different options price-wise. So let's talk about the one that you're using and other options.
Okay, so the one that I use is the Neo, and I guess it would be the middle-of-the-road one. It costs about $180. There's an Elite and Elite Plus, and I don't know what the difference is because, I know one of them has Bluetooth capabilities, but I think the Neo also comes with Bluetooth. The only visible things I can find is like the Elite and Elite Plus are transparent, like the housing is transparent, but size wise and functionality, I think they're about the same. But then there's some smaller ones like the Lite, which is in the Oasis, which has way fewer buttons. But if you aren't doing a lot of different button strokes, keystrokes, you might not need something that has all the bells and whistles that this does.
Okay, so you mentioned Logic Pro, which I am pretty familiar with because I use it also to edit my audio for various shows. And you can get pretty cray-cray when it comes to keystrokes. What do you like about having a third-party option? Instead of using the colon to get your timeline back in track, does it I don't know, just like feel better ergonomically?
So it is so much faster to put your hand, I put my left hand on this box and my right hand on I have a trackpad, not a mouse, but if you're using a mouse, and then you can just move. And I can do anything I need to do as far as leveling, editing, dragging, moving, adjusting the LUFs, adjusting automation, whatever it is, I can just do from that position. So I don't have
Well,
to
because
change
otherwise you would have to
position.
take your hand off of this and go to your track or your keyboard.
Yeah, or menu dive within the thing. And when you're
Hmm.
doing, like, I do a lot of editing every day. I'm sometimes doing 3 or 4 shows a day. And when I'm doing that, all that time I save by not diving through keystrokes or through menus, it all saves me time. And when you have things return, like DTNS turns around pretty quick, I can't just kind of make sure I menu dive my way through it. I have to be able to move.
Now, we're talking about audio editing because many of you listening to the audio version of the show say like, "Oh, it sounds really great." But you, Hammond, use it for video editing and photo editing. I'm kind of curious about what do you feel like is the way that it can get you through that process faster?
So for me, the video editing is a new skill set for me. I've been a primarily audio guy for over a decade. Video is something I picked up in the last few years. And what's great about the video editing, and it's more about my brain than anything else, is I've got the TourBox set up so that the things that I know work in Logic, like cutting and resizing and scrolling and scrubbing and all the things, deleting things, all those motions that might have different keystrokes and different setups in a video program, because I've got the customizable third-party option here, all those motions are exactly the same. So I don't have to have a second set of muscle memory to do those programs. So it transfers over super easy. So if I want to cut something and delete the thing that I've cut out, it's the same strokes on the box as it is when I do it in Logic.
Now, does that have to depend on, you're using Logic and you're using Final Cut versus, Premiere and Logic,
Oh,
which obviously are two different companies?
Well, and I can set it up any way I want. That thing is fully customizable. They've got a software
Oh,
program called the TourBox Console. In fact, a brand new beta came out of it just recently. And you can go in and put in any keystrokes you want. So there are things that I use every day in editing DTNS. And I've got those set up very easy for me to use, but there are things that I use like once every 6 months sometimes. I don't have that programmed in as easily because it's not something I use all the time. But if I have, let's say I have a very specialized project I'm working on and I'm using different things, I can build a whole different customized button set for that project and not touch the one I use every day.
interesting. Okay, so for for anybody who's like, this sounds interesting, you are connecting via USB-C, correct?
Yep, one USB-C connection.
One that's it. That's all you.
Unless
It
you,
tells you it doesn't need its own power
nope,
source.
unless you're using the Bluetooth version, then it probably has batteries or something. But right
Sure.
now, I'm just using the one USB-C connection.
Now, and when you're talking about the presets that you end up using over and over, and everybody can decide on what those need to be based on your workload, that I assume is a companion software app.
Yeah, it's called the TourBox Console. It comes with it. It's right there. And what's great about it is you can have a transparent, almost like a heads-up display that you can see on screen, so you can start mapping. When you are mapping the buttons, you can see what's happening on the screen. So it's easy to kind of correlate action with reaction as you do it. And then you can turn the overhead display or the HUD off as you become more comfortable and just know what the buttons do. And their website has hundreds of preset things that users have uploaded as like starting places. So,
for inspiration.
yeah, and they've got it for Blender, they've got it for all kinds of art programs, they've got it for browsers, they've got it for specific OSs. And I just found out when I was prepping for this, they've got software you can use for Android tablets.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so that was going to be my next question is, for many folks, especially those heavy into editing, they say, well, you have a keyboard, and maybe a keyboard plus, where you kind of muscle memory, the keystrokes that you need, but you can also program keys to do a variety of things. And it seems like a lot of what you're talking about. Why do you like this other option? I mean, obviously a scroll wheel is not something that you can really get on your keyboard, but in other ways, how do you feel like it makes more sense to have this other option rather than built it into the keyboard.
Just for the way my brain works, having something that's compact and that's I've put together, like I know where the buttons are because I've set them up. That makes me move a lot faster than it does if I'm just going through, command shift, whatever the keystrokes are. And the other part too is because it is so small, I have a second one that I travel with. And if I ever am away, I take one with me. And sometimes laptops keyboards aren't quite as functional, or it's just a different feel than a regular thing. So it's the same feeling everywhere I go.
Oh, 100%. I'm interested in how you orient this on your desktop. So I am a trackpad person as well as you are. So I've got my keyboard, I've got my trackpad. I don't know, my desk is sort of hard to explain, but I have the trackpad underneath the keyboard because they're a couple levels. And then I think that this would be something I would have over on the left-hand side.
That's where mine is.
Yeah.
Mine is on the left. The keyboard's in the middle.
Are you left-handed?
No.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So obviously you can orient it however you want, but that probably is one of those things where, like you said, if you didn't have this and you were on the road and you had to edit something quickly, it's like, I can do it, but I like my setup. I like my setup how it is.
And a great example of this happened this past summer. Tom put up an interview on the Patreon, and it didn't sound right. There was something going on with the sound, and he sent me a message and said, "Can you fix this?" And so I had this with me because I'd done a DTNS episode, and I was able to turn that around and fix it super quick because I didn't have to worry about menu diving. I didn't have to worry about shortcuts and trying to figure out how to do things again that I already knew how to do because I had it set up once. So it super time saver. I mean, it's so incredibly efficient, and they're expensive. And the fact that I went out and bought a second one to travel with tells you how much I rely on this.
So that was going to be my next question as we wrap up this episode. Obviously, this works for you. You mentioned it is expensive. This isn't a $50 little third party hardware situation. It's $180. And you have a couple of different options. What would you recommend to somebody like me who's like, maybe this works for me? I don't know. Is it really going to help my point A to point B, if I'm equating this to driving a car, is it really worth the money?
So if I were going to suggest someone who wasn't sure, I would say spend the $100 on one of the light or the Oasis, give it a shot. And if it doesn't work out, you spend $100 on dumber things. I mean, we all have. I mean, that's just life, especially when we're in this kind of field. Like, we've all spent money thinking this is going to save us, and then it doesn't. Yeah. So $100 to try something out. And then if you buy into it and you like it and you're like, okay, now I understand this. Now I need the bigger one, the one that's more robust. I'll go ahead and spend the money. I would recommend to try the smaller ones and see what happens. I think there's a $79 version and there's a $100 version. So they have lots of different flavors of them. So it's just a matter of, finding one you feel comfortable putting the money into and then giving it a shot.
Well, and always a good reminder that even though we've got menu options and keyboard shortcuts, sometimes something like this is just going to be better for your brain and muscle memory. Well, it's good to have options.
The thing that I love is I do a lot of zooming. I do a lot of scrubbing through things, going through and removing mouth noises and ums and all kinds of things. So being able to see how things fit together and quickly scroll back and forth and find and push a button and picks up with the playhead, or I pick a button and it takes you into something that would take 4 or 5 keystrokes.
Easy crossfades.
Yeah.
I'm all about the easy crossfades because I'm always smacking my lips for no apparent reason, but it's like, take it out.
So it just, for me, this sped up my life to the point where I could actually do what I do efficiently.
Well, that is That's, I think, what we're all kind of looking for. Hammond Chamberlain, thank you so much for helping us understand a little bit more about the TourBox. Again, as Hammond mentioned, you have a few options. You got the Light Oasis, about $100. The Neo for $179, which is what Hammond is using, and then the Elite for $280. So definitely look through that. If any of you are using any of these products right now and say, "Oh, I have thoughts. Maybe you didn't cover it," or something that is echoing Hammond's thoughts, do let us know. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. But in the meantime, Hammond, thank you so much for coming back from behind the curtain and letting us all know what you use day to day.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. This has been a lot of fun.
It was fun. If you enjoyed Live With It, please tell a friend, family member, coworker. We'll take them all. Consider supporting us on Patreon as well. That is how we can do shows like this. Check out patreon.com/DTNS to learn more. Until next time, I'm Sarah Lane, and you've been watching Live With It.